Hey everyone, welcome back to the Full Feature Podcast. I'm here with Tiernan and Ian as always, and this week we're talking about The Boys episode 1 and 2. I'm thinking of ending it, a brand new Netflix movie that dropped a couple of days ago, and of course Tenet. We're going to give the majority of the time on this podcast to Tenet because I think it deserves at least 45 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. So any movie news for us, guys, before we start, actually?
We were just briefly discussing this, just to start with, before...
Bit of controversy.
So, the Academy, to battle their ever-growing problem of underrepresentation in cinema, which isn't even just an Academy thing, I think it's a Hollywood problem as well.
It's just an America thing.
It's
a world thing.
It's a Western cinema problem. Fine,
Yeah.
we've discussed this at length, but we were just saying now that they've brought in these new qualifying factors that films need to have in order to be nominated for Best Picture, which is always the source of the biggest controversy in the Oscars every year. And we were just saying this is probably the whitest solution to this problem.
Racism ever,
this rich white American solution to the problem. So
they may as well be painting the black problem white, like they'll just paint over it.
So Standard A, as I explained to you guys, to achieve Standard A, the film must meet one of the following criteria. The lead or significant supporting actors, right? At least one of the lead actors or significant supporting actors is from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. This is literally something straight out of South Park.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Yeah.
Asian, Hispanic or Latino or Latina, Black, African American, Indigenous, Native American, Alaskan Native, Middle Eastern, North African, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander. And then I love that little one at the end, any other underrepresented race or ethnicity.
Yeah. That's so contextual.
It's that's just leaves it so open. What the hell?
Where do you go looking for the most underrepresented?
I want my lead character to be from Malmo in Sweden.
The Gwen talked.
The Rock is taking all the Oscars.
There you go, Connemara. There you go.
The Rock is taking all the Oscars because obviously he's a Pacific Islander.
He's a Pacific Islander.
He's in every fucking movie.
He's in every movie, yeah. Okay, so then the next one is the general ensemble cast. At least 30% of all actors in secondary and more minor roles are from at least two of the following underrepresented groups: women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ+, people with cognitive or physical disabilities who are deaf or hard of hearing. And then for the main story or subject matter, the main storyline, theme, or narrative of the film is centered on an underrepresented group. So that is women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ+, or people with cognitive physical disabilities who are deaf and hard of hearing.
I mean, this is just...
Sorry, that was a mouthful.
Absolutely insane, though.
It's just so
what I love about that
ridiculous.
wording as well is that, women don't have to be leading roles, apparently.
Exactly.
They don't have to be part of the leading cast.
It's hilarious.
Maybe they're saying that there's a lead actress and a supporting actress, but at the same time, I mean, they did say supporting has to be women. But what's the film going to be like? Are they going to do a telling of Joseph Stalin, a telling of his life, and there's going to be he's going to have a handicapped friend?
100%, or even let's be real. If you said
Trotsky's going to be black.
Yeah.
What's this? How do you go about that?
It's do you want to be? And I get we've discussed this at length. 100% fair enough. Hollywood neglects different. Neglects racial groups and stuff, and we discussed this so much about a movie like Parasite, where that's an all Asian cast, it's an all Korean cast, and it's Korean director, writer, and it blew the movies out of the water. The problem here isn't the criteria for your film getting nominated. The problem here is it's your scope. It's who is nominating these films.
Who's getting funded and who's making these films.
Yeah,
exactly.
Instead of remaking Internal Affairs, why don't you fucking bring it to the Oscars?
100%.
It's just so annoying. No one this is you're no longer making art to be I want to win an Oscar, or not even maybe not. That's not even the fucking director or writer's intention or
100%.
whatever.
That's a good point.
You just want to
too.
make
A good
fucking
film.
movies, and now the Oscars is just becoming you have to have. Imagine being a strong feminist or whatever, and hearing
You have
women are underrepresented, but you can't have an actress
lead actress
in the leading actress in order to win Best Picture.
And this is the thing. This is what's confused me as well, is because this whole idea of the theme or the story has to be about an underrepresented group. Does that mean every film is going to have a racial story? Not saying that you can't there's plenty of movies coming out with a racial story, but that surely just boxes you in.
But over the last 10 years, I mean, that's the way it's gone. I mean, they are just kind of feeding into it.
Probably, yeah.
It's been year on, year off with the Oscars over the last 10 years.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. But still there'd be 8 movies nominated, and while half of them might be like racially, like, you know, have a story about a racial tension or an underrepresented group, then there's that other random one like you know, Inception, or, you know, which is just tells a really incredible story, like a really cool story.
I do feel though, like if I'm looking back on the last couple of years, like this year, incredible year for film, and Parasite
really good,
blew everything out of the water despite the diversity of its cast. It didn't rely on that.
That wasn't a part of it.
It won despite that, if anything.
No, it just so happened the film was Korean.
Yeah, and the year before that, what was it, Green Book?
Green Book, yeah.
That was a terrible selection of films. The year before that was Shape of Water, Three Billboards, all of these.
Yeah, that was a good
films.
year. Yeah.
And the year before that was Moonlight. And it just there's some selection theme, of this reoccurring theme of, we take a year on, year off of when people are pushing out these films that are such spoon-fed, kind of accept this racial issue and accept that it's a problem and give us an award.
And it doesn't mean that necessarily, like, I don't think that filmmakers should like stop doing it.
No, not at all.
It goes back to this fatigue. It's like, oh, another one of these stories, another one of these stories.
And it's been happening since Crash.
And exactly, and we get it. Like, you know, it's a huge issue. It affects us every day. But I think it goes back to a little bit what you say, T, about sometimes films are about fucking escapism and getting away from the horrors of like your everyday. And it's like,
I said it once, I'll say it again. I stand by this. The best film that commented on black violence and the horrors that happen to black people was Django. And the reason why I say that is because not only does it not shy away from the utter gruesome nature of that period of history, but it's also incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, it's an entertaining
and it's
film,
a masterpiece to film itself. And that's kind of what you need, because it's like Black Panther is more impressive to me than 12 Years
I
a Slave,
totally agree. Like, even I was watching lots of tributes to Chadwick Boseman this week, and obviously very sad that he passed away, and it was showing the impact his, you know, Black Panther had on people. And like, you know, I remember when I saw it at the time, I was like, oh, that's a good movie, but like, I wasn't like, holy shit, this is my way. But there was loads of black people who said it was really cool to just watch a film and just see so many people that look like me on screen. Do you know what I mean? That was
I honestly didn't overly like Black Panther the first time I saw it, but when I kind of sat on it and thought about it, I was literally like, that is like the one film I've seen with a full black cast doesn't acknowledge that it's a full black cast, and it just it's just there, like it's just and the same as watching a regular white superhero with a full white cast.
Yeah, and it's bad when these corporate fucking companies like Disney are handling race and representation in film.
Yeah, they're not good people.
Better than like they really have. They really have been putting really excellent actors. Like, and it's like they're this corporate machine that we shouldn't support, but they get it right.
Like, I'm pretty sure Walt was a Nazi. Like.
he was not chill.
He's not chill anyway.
He's frozen somewhere as well.
But I think we've kind of set our piece on that. One thing I do want to really quickly talk about is the Dune trailer.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Dune
I thought
trailer?
the colour was weird. I thought it needs to be a little bit more orange. I love Christopher Nolan and all, but he's definitely had this effect on movies where fucking people just take the fucking saturation out of them, don't they?
It did look that
Jesus
kind of
Christ.
way.
It was like, remember when everyone was
did you think you wanted it to be more orange or less orange?
more orange?
Yeah.
It's quite dull.
I was like,
It's
geez,
quite
it's a bit
dull,
dull, especially because the set, maybe that's just a trailer and, you know, whatever. Like,
I mean, it's coming out soon. It's coming out in December.
You know, Hans Zimmer passed on Tenet to do.
Yeah.
do
They actually got the
Dune.
fella from Black Panther to do the music from Tenet, but we'll talk more about that.
We'll get
later.
into that later. Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of looks like one of those really long, boring space movies, but I'm gonna go in there with an open mind. I just want it to be more orange.
Yeah.
You know what I thought of when I was watching it is every single actor in it, and it is a star-studded cast. Every single actor in it is such an aesthetic character rather than like
Chalamet,
an actual good actor.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like we're yet to see if Timothée Chalamet is actually a good actor.
I'd agree with that.
I think he's very overrated, personally, just from watching Call Me by Your Name, which was like his breakthrough role. Zendaya, I'm a massive supporter of her. I don't know if she's a good actress yet.
Did you watch Euphoria? We had this
No, but
conversation.
I've talked to people about Euphoria, and they say it's very like teen drama-y and like
It is, but it's so good. But
yeah, I need to
watch
watch it. I need to watch it. Javier Bardem barely fucking can speak. He looks incredible. I'm happy he's in a film.
Jason Momoa can't act.
Jason Momoa.
He cannot act.
He's literally just muscles, like.
He just looks cool. He looks cool.
We
This
decide-
could be a style over substance movie.
It is.
could
That's
be,
what I'm
which
Dave
thinking.
Bautista.
That is the
fucking-
danger. That is the biggest
Dave
danger.
Bautista was okay in well, he had to play a robot in 2047, so I
Yeah.
suppose like, and he's good in Guardians of the Galaxy. But
What do you
like,
think
I
of
feel
Oscar
it's-
Isaac as well? I don't.
I love him.
Well, you like him because of Inside Llewyn Davis. I haven't seen Inside
Well,
Llewyn
Star Wars ruined him for me.
It did. It ruined everything.
Like, would
for
you
us.
say that he's a great actor?
Well,
Yeah.
I thought he really excelled in Ex Machina. I thought he was really fucking good in that.
He is. Yeah, he is quite good in that. Yeah.
But I mean, as you said,
That was a film though that I really didn't appreciate at the time.
he's an interesting one as well, because remember we talked about Jason Momoa and how he's not a good actor.
Terrible.
But someone just decided in Hollywood along the way he's a superstar now, and they never
Yeah.
gave him the time.
Never
to
look back.
Maybe that's the same for Oscar Isaac, because he kind of had done these weird kind of indie movies. Then he was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just like, whoa. It was like, we're just throwing him into this multi-billion-dollar franchise. It's the same thing happened with Jason
Yeah.
Momoa. It's kind of the same thing as fucking Jai Courtney, who we were giving out about.
Oh fuck, Jai Courtney. I hate fucking Maggie Gyllenhaal and Jai Courtney.
Here's the last one though.
That's such a weird one. The Maggie Gyllenhaal hatred is such a weird one.
Yeah, that's just so off base, like. But anyway, Josh Brolin.
I like him.
This is someone who I've always debated because I love Josh Brolin, true and true. He's
Yeah.
honestly such a nice guy.
Oh, but he's Thanos now, so
If
he'll
he's
get whatever
Thanos,
he
yeah,
wants.
so
If
exactly.
you don't follow him on Instagram, he's the best. He's like the most down to earth.
I was just about to say his Instagram is incredible. He's a cool dude.
But I have no idea whether or not he's a good actor.
Good point. I mean, even in, and this is the thing, like, I mean, even in like No Country for Old Men, him and Javier Bardem,
They don't act.
they don't really act in it. Do you know
He
what I
is
mean? Like,
cowboy.
he is
And
cowboy.
he is Silent Man.
He is Silent Man.
To be fair, that scene that we actually put up on Instagram of Javier Bardem and the coin scene, the first.
I mean,
one,
that is incredible. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
It is
But
incredible.
I love Javier Bardem and everything he is. Like he made that film Mother. Like,
Yeah,
actually
and
emotional.
also, you see, to be fair, I think with him is he has a pretty extensive catalog of films in Spanish, and
Yeah.
he obviously was late getting into Hollywood, and
He could apparently in No Country he couldn't really speak.
he couldn't really
English.
speak. That was the
Yeah.
reason they kept him so silent. Like, and he's in this film called I think it's called Beautiful. I think is what it's called, and apparently it's absolutely fucking incredible. And it came out like I think the same year as No Country for
No
Old
Country.
Men, and apparently it's fucking insanely fucking good. So I think he actually can act.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you're right. We just haven't gotten that chance to like
Yeah.
really see them in action.
Apparently, you know, like the big worm at the end of it, the sand
Yeah,
worm.
Prince of a
yeah,
Year or
It,
something.
it took a full year to design, which
It didn't
holy
really
shit,
like
very
blow me
impressive.
away.
No, like
I don't know.
With
Look,
the
my
glimpse
phone's
in
in
the trailer.
bits. My phone is.
I'm imagining you with your chin right.
Yeah,
above your
yeah.
chest
Sorry,
while
my
it's
phone is horrible.
going mad.
But I got real like 300 vibes off it. Like you had them like weird oracle people and like
Yeah, I don't know. Like, for what I got from the trailer, I was expecting a lot more.
Well, the thing about Dune is this one has such a big following because, well, first of all, when it first came out in the 80s, it was a huge case of like, you know, this concept like movie that was going to get taken on. It's this massive. Have you ever seen the book? It's
Fucking massive, isn't it?
huge.
I don't know
like,
who would approach it.
I just wouldn't even go there.
It's
Like,
supposed to be like the best thing ever. It's supposed to be like
yeah,
Lord of the
it's-
Rings spec.
Yeah, except obviously this like space
Are
opera.
they making it
like,
one
fucking-
movie
yeah.
or what's?
It's just one film, which is interesting to me. Like, and I'm kind of glad because like I don't really like franchises because they tend to
Well, yeah.
disappoint you. Like, it wouldn't unless they're done well. But Alejandro Jodorowsky originally was meant to make Dune. He's this like Spanish or I think he's Spanish or he could be French, but I'm fairly sure he's he's Italian. Excuse me. He made a lot of avant-garde movies in the 70s, like The Holy Mountain and stuff. And all his movies are totally batshit off the walls. But he wanted to make Dune. He had all this concept stuff done for it, and he was going to get Pink Floyd to make the entire score, which would have been really
That's
cool.
class.
That fell apart, and they got in David Lynch. They said, "Who's the next best fucking weirdo in Hollywood? We'll get David Lynch to do it." He made it. It wasn't to everyone's liking.
People like David Lynch way too much.
I love David Lynch. I fucking love him.
Like, have you
so
ever tried to
much.
watch like an episode of Twin Peaks?
It's
like
just
it's just like
bonkers.
what like.
Also, apparently, what happened with Twin Peaks was he like started it and like was like working on it, and he hadn't intended it to go on for like whatever it was 2 seasons,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna walk away from this," and apparently they started really fucking it up, and he was literally watching at home. And was
Going
like,
mad.
he literally was like, "Okay, I have to come back to
He's
this."
still
Didn't he
making
come back
films.
to that? Yeah.
Yeah,
he came back to that
came back and
recently.
he finished.
Is it good?
He came back to it with Showtime and made a few extra episodes. I didn't hear a whole lot about it except that the fans who watched it
Yeah.
were happy with it.
Yeah.
So
That's like that fucking show Firefly.
Yeah, it's got that
Fire,
same kind of following.
Firefly is
Yeah.
supposed to be the best thing
It's
ever.
meant to be
and that was
so
Joss
good.
Whedon. That
Yeah,
was
Joss Whedon,
So
yeah.
I mean,
Do you want to just, before we move on to the boys, just quickly go through, I think it's the semi-final, maybe quarterfinalists of our polls.
quarterfinalists?
Because we're about that time of the week now, so we'll just do quick fire rounds of like, what do you think? So, the winner of X-Men and Deadpool 2, you happy with that?
I fucking hate Deadpool too.
I wasn't crazy on it.
I really liked that.
There was bits in it I liked.
This is the original X-Men, yeah?
Yeah, the original.
And I have a
X-Men.
soft spot for the first X-Men.
Same.
Big time.
I like the Frogman, yeah.
But I thought Deadpool 2 was...
It's Halle Berry's line in that when she goes, do you know what happens to a frog when it gets hit by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
What about a metal rod? Does it simply conduct it?
That's exactly like.
What's your fucking science here?
What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
African accent Halle Berry, which you just dropped in
not
X-Men
okay.
2.
Not okay, Halle
But it's not
Berry.
okay as well, because she's from the Caribbean. Like,
Yeah,
why
but
are you putting on an African accent? Like?
Everyone was just like, "You're fucking terrible." This just drop it for X.
She's not a great storm.
Disappointed.
You're disappointed with that. I agree with that. I thought Deadpool 2 was unbelievable though.
I like
X-Men 1 was...
Obviously, the
I
parachute.
just don't like the kid in it.
Same.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
One for the Wilder People.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved him in that.
Yeah.
I just didn't like.
I
him
loved him in this. I thought he was
Yeah.
gas. But
And he's like there.
I
With
kind of
like
hate. I
Martini,
kind of
so
fucking hate Ryan Reynolds. I don't know what it is.
I can kind of understand that.
guys, fuck off. All right, we won't go into Ryan.
Just
I
hate
do
it.
understand it though. I
Like,
don't.
I
but
just
do
feel like
understand it.
Deadpool was great, but then like Deadpool 2, he kind of goes like that one extra time.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
you're doing that
doing
thing.
yeah, but like Josh Brolin's in it, the Juggernauts. in
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's
Josh
only,
Brolin's
only
good.
better.
Also, yeah, I did enjoy the Juggernaut in it as well.
We can fly past this one. Captain America and Logan won.
Clearly.
Logan wins.
Yeah.
all
Captain America
day.
1 is
all day.
shit, and I stand by that.
Winter Soldier won over Ant-Man.
Yeah, I'd
Obviously.
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, Ant-Man sucks balls.
Winter
man.
Soldier is an incredible film. And by the way, X-Men lost, but X-Men changed superhero
films.
films.
On team,
Yeah, yeah.
ensemble movies.
This
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
I
big
was
time.
furious with. So Spider-Man versus Far From Home. This is Toby versus Tom. Toby lost.
What?
Toby has to win. Toby has to win all day.
I couldn't
every day.
believe it.
It was
I don't
winning
care,
when I
don't care.
voted.
I don't care.
It's ridiculous.
Watch Spider-Man 1 and 2. They're
But it's-
fucking great. Even watch Spider-Man 3.
I like
fucking
Spider-Man
dare you.
3.
But it's
Yeah,
not even
yeah.
Homecoming. It's Far From Home. Like, what?
Yeah,
I
Far
really-
From
I-
Home.
I did like Far From Home. I
Far
did
From
like
Home is
Far
From Home.
good,
But
but
like-
it's not Spider-Man.
No, the original Spider-Man.
Original
one.
Spider-Man's great.
I
That
couldn't
fucking
believe it.
iconic scene where he's kissing Mary Jane
Upside
upside
down.
down.
That's incredible.
That's
like.
incredible cinema, like.
It's fucking class.
When he
And
first
Willem
climbs the
Dafoe's in it.
walls,
And
like-
Willem Dafoe.
Do you know his actual name is Willem Dafoe? But no one actually
one
calls
knows.
him that, yeah.
Civil War won over the original Deadpool.
Good.
Ooh,
I-
that's
I-
controversial,
Civil
but I love
War's
Civil
banging,
War.
Civil
Civil
War's
War is
banging.
great.
I voted
yeah,
for
yeah.
Deadpool. on
Even
that.
though I think that they wasted Daniel Brühl in that.
Who was he again? In it?
Captain Ziggo or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh
He
yeah,
was so bad.
yeah, he was not great. Yeah,
But oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of the lead fucking
you
villain.
thinking of Frank Grillo?
No. I actually was thinking of Danny Brühl. Yeah, I was thinking of. But
Are you thinking of the fella who would play Shmuel? Or Gollum, sorry. Shmuel? Who's Shmuel?
Andy
again?
Schmidt.
He's the kid. He's the kid in the boy in the striped pajamas.
Oh my god, that is crazy controversial. we are not anti-Semitic on this one.
I'm definitely fucking cutting that.
Welcome to the Full Feature Podcast.
I think that's hilarious, but if you want to
No, we're keeping that.
I think that's hilarious.
You know, like Bruno and Gollum.
Yeah, that's where it was because he was.
Okay,
Oh,
keep it going, keep it going. Yeah, no, we're definitely keeping that. Guardians of the Galaxy lost to Endgame. They are powerhouses for me. But
Yeah, they're two.
Guardians of the Galaxy-
And Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh, you can't beat
changed,
Endgame.
changed Marvel movies.
But
I
you can't
thought.
beat Endgame.
Yeah.
To be fair.
And if it was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'd be so up for that because I'm not really a big fan.
Yeah,
But I thought Guardians of the Galaxy 1 like changed Marvel movies.
I agree. And
I think they
I
were,
think
always,
Dead-
they
I
were
think so
going
did
a certain
Deadpool.
way, but then it was like when you threw that one in. And I remember watching the trailer for that, thinking it actually looked really good, and all my friends were like, "That looks terrible."
I was
went
like,
to go-
that looks terrible.
All came out singing and was like, "That was."
I
best
went to
fucking-
see it again straight away.
Yeah,
it
it's
did.
such a
No,
vibey
it
movie.
changed the tone of
Yeah,
because
of
it was either going to
Marvel.
go the direction of Guardians of the Galaxy or Winter Soldier.
And it went.
And it went the
It
other
found a
direction.
nice medium. To be
It
fair,
did, yeah,
with
it did.
Endgame.
100%.
So, well, look, Endgame had.
It found a nice medium between kind of like the Iron Man side and the Captain America side. Like
yeah,
Civil
yeah,
War
the
almost
can't be kind of yeah.
Captain
But,
America used to be
alright.
such a fucking dork.
Oh, wasn't he? Like,
Ugh, I stand for justice.
X-Men First Class. lost to Infinity War.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
love
X-Men-
First Class though.
I loved it, and
So
I'm
good.
surprised it's not back to Future Past.
Days of
What
Future
do you mean it's
Past.
not
Days
back
of
to-
Future Past. Back to the Future
That's
Past.
a great.
X-Men Back to the Future Past. Morty.
Morty, it's Marty.
It's 12. It's 12 o'clock.
It's late.
but
It's actually 1 a.m.
Professor X. And then Spider-Man 2 lost to Black Panther, which I'm happy with.
Spider-Man 2 lost
Original
to Black Panther.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man 2
Yeah,
as well.
I
do
love that
but look,
performance by actor who never did anything again.
yeah, Doc Ock.
Where did he go? Like, what was his role?
I think he's like Belgian or something.
He was so good in that film. I also love that bit where he's like,
They were like, they saw that film and they were like, you can be nothing else.
Sorry, I just see you as Dr. Octopus.
he just disappeared into the shadows.
Sorry, I only see you in your forearms.
I love that bit in Spider-Man 2 when he's like telling Peter Parker to like feed Mary Jane poetry, and then he like awkwardly starts saying poetry to her, and like another scene that's the most awkward fucking
Tobey
thing.
Maguire was the most awkward gem of
was
a
perfect.
generation.
It was so
Except
perfect.
that scene in Spider-Man 3 where he goes full fucking
Emo Batman.
that was literally my.
Did we include Spider-Man 3 in the polls?
We didn't, and it was.
It would've gotten smoked.
So what I was doing was I did all of the MCU, and then I did like the standout ones.
Few
that,
X-Men.
that I wanted to see how they do and shit like that. You know, they
well,
include
I won't lie. A lot got knocked out in the first round that I was upset about. Like Days of Future Past got knocked
Days of
out
Future Past.
fairly early.
Days of Future Past is an incredible film.
It's so good, and I
it
think
kind of goes under the radar. I feel like just people kind of forgot about it.
yeah,
I feel like
because
Logan came out like a couple of years later. And
that
then,
was,
you know,
yeah, well, that was it. And do you know what else was? What was the one after Days of Future Past?
where he went to
Apocalypse,
Tokyo.
which
awful,
was a terrible
awful.
film.
Wait, what
And
was
apparently, I've any.
Apocalypse.
Oh
Benny-
yeah, really shit.
And then Dark Phoenix, even worse
Dark-
again.
have you
after
seen
that.
Dark Phoenix?
No, apparently it's
No,
terrible.
never actually went to watch it.
I don't think it's as bad as Apocalypse, but it's still
But you know
bad.
what was just awful in
Sour
Apocalypse?
milk,
So,
you know?
in Days of Future Past, when the time in the bottle scene, one of the most incredible scenes I've actually seen in cinema, you know, where Quicksilver runs around the
Yeah.
kitchen and like...
To be fair, the one in Apocalypse is really good
The
too.
one in the Apocalypse is so good, but why the fuck do it again?
I know, it's because that was what they were relying on.
I
That was the
know.
only selling point
What's
they had
the
about
fucking
Apocalypse.
buzz,
That was
like?
the only thing I
And you know
remember
what-
about
You
Apocalypse.
know what they said as well? It was the weirdest thing ever, and it was a dig at Last Stand. But they
The
went to
third
see
one.
Star Wars, and they were like,
Everyone
the
knows.
third one's always the worst.
And
it's
that was
like-
the third one.
And I was like, you're in the third one.
Yeah, literally, like, yeah, honest to God. Like,
But it was a dig at Last Stand, and it's like, well, look.
Last Stand's better than
You're
that.
just shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
like,
Last Stand's not bad.
I remember seeing Last Stand, and like, spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen it. If you haven't,
Fucking
you,
came out
what are you doing?
2007 or
Like,
something.
but they literally kill off so many characters,
Kill off
or
everyone.
make them
But that's
like
why.
lose their powers, and that like fucked with me so much as a kid. But it taught me a good lesson about loss. And I'll tell you what, the Marvel franchise could learn about that now. And
But that's genuinely like why it
Yeah.
got slated so much, is because it cut everything off.
had
I actually
balls.
think that like as a film, it's quite good.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not bad,
I actually need fucking. Now to say it, Marvel need to up their game
On
and fucking kill some
killing
cunts.
people. Yeah.
Kill some fucking people. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Like they
fucking
didn't even
sick.
really like they killed Iron Man in like the nicest way fucking possible.
Yeah, but it was so wrapped up in the
And
thing.
it was.
I want someone
why the
fucking.
fuck was Gwyneth Paltrow
I
there?
want someone just exploding without you. Like, I mean, we'll get on to the boys. I want something like that. You know,
Imagine
like
the
just
Hulk
like
died.
a boom.
I
They're
feel like the
gone.
Hulk dying.
Well,
would
that's
be
what
good.
happened to their Quicksilver. Remember they introduced Quicksilver and they were like, wait a minute, the
a
other one
minute.
is so much,
Yeah,
more
it's so much
popular."
better.
Wait a minute, Fox's legal team.
Wait, how is Kick-Ass's best friend better than Kick-Ass? But anyway, okay, we'll get on to the boys.
Okay, yeah. Who wants to start? Who wants to talk about the boys first?
Well, we just talk about the first episode, talk about the second one next week.
Yeah,
You
sure.
haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. I don't mind. Okay, so I mean, the boys. We talked about
Yeah,
season
it kind
one.
of eases you back into it.
Yeah.
I think season 1 kind of ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I wish I rewatched season one. Going
Yeah, I
into
wish I
the
watched the
first
last episode, but there's
Yeah.
so much shit. I watched a little recap anyway. Fucking Homelander is so strange.
He is.
He
just
is.
the. He's just the best.
Is the
about
scene with the
show.
milk?
So
Yeah.
good.
Is the scene with the milk in the
Yeah.
first episode?
Yeah. Oh my
yeah.
god.
That's unbelievable.
It's a titty milk.
It's
It's
titty
titty
milk.
milk.
It is
Yeah,
titty
it's
milk.
Because he used to.
frozen.
I'm pretty sure.
It's a frozen breast milk
and it's kind of like
from his mom
From
boss
the,
fucker.
that
the
he,
PR woman, is it
and
not?
y-
Yeah.
no, well, yeah, and it's kind of discolored, like
Yeah.
oh,
Your man, Mr. Star, I believe it is. That's why I can't remember what his first name is. Is fucking class, and this guy plays
the guy
Homelander.
who plays Homelander, he's on.
Yeah, and Jack McQuaid is actually Doug McQuaid.
No, it's
Yeah, Doug.
Who's Doug McQuaid again?
Oh,
I don't
21
know.
Jump Street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
It was in the day. You know, I know him from The Day After Tomorrow.
Quaid,
He's
yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal's dad.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
I need to find my son.
Yeah.
I'm a geologist, but I'm also a manly man.
Yeah, oh god, like he just
forgot
didn't get
to
any of his
pick up.
I always
father's
mix him up
looks.
with Tom Waits, though.
He just did not get any of his father's looks.
No, but like the thing about him is, I think he's a better actor than Dennis Quaid, because Dennis Quaid is like. Dennis
I
Quaid
am
is
a
like,
man.
Dennis Quaid is. I'm sorry, I forgot to pick you up from basketball, Timmy. I, even though I don't love your mom anymore, it doesn't mean I don't love you.
But,
oh my god, a meteor is heading for Earth.
just the same tempo.
Yeah.
But I thought that the opening kind of black noir scene was unreal.
I love that, yeah.
And then, like, why I love this show is the scene with Blind Spot. It's essentially Daredevil. But anyway, look, if we might go into spoiler territory here. If you're still yet to watch it, skip over this part for a few. But when he walks up to Blind Spot,
Oh, it's so funny. I love how it's like, you're the real hero.
Yeah.
and he's like, he just claps him on the ear.
And he's like, now he's just another useless deaf guy.
You think I'm gonna let a handicapped person be in the seven?
Be in the seven.
Yeah, Homelander is
Just-
really good this
Actually,
season.
He's really. I think
good.
they're gonna really bring him out in this season,
Mm.
because even though he was huge in season 1, but there's so much going on in season 1 between introducing Starlight and even what's your man Jack McQuaid's character's name again? Huey, you know what I mean?
Jack Quaid. It's like,
and the butcher and stuff and all. Like, I mean, there's so much going on.
Mother's Milk.
Mother's Milk. Like, he's great.
Yeah,
as
the
well,
team's
like,
assembled.
The
The
team,
team is-
yeah, they've solidified the team.
Yeah.
The only thing I got a little bit of impression of, I don't know if you guys felt this, and you said it about Umbrella Academy season 2, which I've also started. You said that it went through a bit of a season 2 syndrome.
Yeah.
I got that impression off episode 1. I was like, is this going to be a bit of a setting up season?
I just wanna butt in here and say I fucking watched episode 2 before I watched episode 1 because Amazon Prime is so fucking bad.
Rant incoming.
awful.
The
In
interface
3.
is worse than COVID-19. Like, it's literally the worst thing ever. I don't know how they're so behind with such good content.
It's like
on
the
it.
biggest tech company in the world.
In the world, apparently it's the second biggest streaming service in the world.
Yeah.
Like, what is the
Because you get
buzz?
it with it's like a fucking bundle. They just need to because the shows are getting really good.
They're great.
I'm telling you, Amazon Prime is going to be better than Netflix in like a year and a half.
I mean, look how much we've been talking about The Boys.
But episode 2, when I was watching that as the first episode, I was like, it's pretty slow. And then I watched the first episode again, and I was like, it's still pretty
Still
slow.
really slow,
So
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I mean, like, hopefully it fucking speeds up. That would be my kind of.
I thought the Black Noir scene, it could have been like incredible, and it just like, it was cool, but I didn't
It was
think
cool.
it was like.
Yeah. But I thought I saw that in season 1. Something similar like that. Like.
I don't think we actually saw much of him in it.
Black Noir is criminally underused in this series.
I think
feel.
he's going to be a lot more.
I think
Yeah.
they're trying to build him
I
up to
love
be
his character. In
Yeah,
general.
just
his name is
doesn't
Black
speak.
Noir,
Noir.
like
Says-
black.
says nothing. Says absolutely nothing. And he's like part of this like corporate PR thing, but he actually does all the dirty work. Like,
Yeah.
he actually, when they
And I
need a
love
job
the-
done, they send Black Noir. Like,
But I love the elements of this, like the way that like they put Seth Rogen in it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, like he's producing it, and Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen,
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
greatest cameo. On TV.
I really wanted them to get Chris Evans to play
the Butcher. Yeah,
I thought that would be
great.
class because like Chris Evans was in a really weird movie. Like, what was that movie where he had like the black hair and like played like the school
Scott
jock?
Pilgrim.
He's
Scott
Scott
Pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
He's the movie star. in that. Yeah.
So I thought that it might have been him, but then it was like no, just some random fella.
Yeah,
But even like the scene where like that guy who can regenerate his limbs is hired to like
Cut
let
off
some creep
Yeah.
some fucking weirdo.
cut off one of his
That's
limbs.
that's
I-
my favorite part of this show.
I
Is like the
love-
random little stories.
100%.
It's like a lot of people are sitting down and they're like, what weird shit would a person with this power get up to?
Get up to that.
And I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's the best.
I mean, you're right, and like it was like even in season 1, A Train's, remember his like girlfriend, and she kills a guy from sitting on his face. So hard.
Sitting on
Like
his
I
face,
love
yeah.
those stories because like they're so fucking weird and like
Yeah.
unnerving, but also like that probably would happen if there was like superheroes going around with all these fucking powers, like, and
the brothel was unreal in the first season as well. When you have like the tiny like Ant-Man sized fella jumping into a vagina,
doing all sorts stuff
like that.
I love how such fucking terrible people they all are, and I like the new girl. What's her name?
Stormfront, is it? Is that right? I think
that's what it is. Yeah, Stormfront. I
and
love
also,
how shit all the names are as well.
I like that they've cast as well Giancarlo Esposito, who played obviously Gustavo Fring.
Yeah.
Do you notice he's the villain in The Mandalorian? He just had like he's literally like the calculated villain.
Yeah.
And he'll always be the calculated villain.
I feel like,
but he's a good addition.
Breaking Bad, like no one from Breaking Bad really got an acting career out
Aaron Paul hasn't really done
Bryan
anything.
Cranston, he's
obviously
been in a few,
but he's
few
like
things, but he was like,
he was already in Hollywood
in the middle,
before as well.
You know,
Malcolm in the Middle
is like the greatest fucking TV show ever.
But it's not like no one took him.
Yeah,
seriously.
but he was also
but he was still in.
He was
Hollywood,
in Argo, and he was
yes, I fully agree.
It
is the best. That was after Breaking Bad.
He was
in, and then he went into Godzilla, and everyone was like, "All right, fuck you." Then he did Trumbo before this. What a weird way to go.
Weird way to go. Yeah. But
that Godzilla was awful, by the way.
It was about like a screenwriter who got blacklisted.
He got blacklisted. He used to write in the bath.
Oh fuck yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah, like
just weird.
Remember there was an episode of Modern Family where Manny dressed up as for Halloween
as Trumbo.
I just thought it was just like that show is very underrated.
I really like how that's how Manny's like he thinks it's a good costume. Like
there's some great characters.
But yeah, so season 2 started hit slow for the boys. You're right, the team is assembled, Jack. But
I think it's gonna fucking pick up pace fairly. Like I watched episode 2 there, so.
And how did episode 2 go for you?
A lot better.
Better, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of found myself like being like, oh, it's a bit boring.
But
like it has to be fucking done, like.
It does to get the.
It's like Breaking Bad has whole fucking seasons. The only difference between this and like Breaking Bad has whole fucking seasons to basically like cool you in, like.
Yeah.
You know, the whole first season is pretty fucking boring.
1 and 2 is fairly slow.
2.
No, I felt 2 was
better.
I thought 3 was
3
was
the
only difference is
set you off.
Yeah, we were like 9 when Breaking Bad came out, so like.
We were all watching it.
But it's a difference between fucking binging and year by year.
That's very
true. Yeah. Like
and week by week. I don't know how they think it's a good idea to do it week by week.
It's so you fucking have to pay for your Amazon subscription.
Every fucking week.
But it's just it's wild to me because like people are going to fall off of it if it's week.
Well, I wonder as well. I feel like do they air the boys on anything because. Like
no, they don't. It's just the way they're doing it. They did with the All or Nothing Spurs documentary, which I haven't watched yet. I'll watch a couple of clips. But I feel like your man's paying for the cameras, but that's a whole different fucking thing. Look.
Did you say that's a whole different ball game?
No, it's a whole different thing.
That would have been a good point.
You missed it.
You made.
I will talk about that because I'm going to watch it this week. Amazon has the ability now to be like, this is going to come out weekly because they have leeway because the original series came out all in one.
It came out all in one, I remember.
Everything else that they posted came out all in one. But now, like, I'm looking at Amazon Prime and I'm like, oh shit, they got some good fucking series.
I'm going to stay subscribed to it.
It's
still quite cheap as well.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cheap.
Yeah.
Like, what's the other one that they have up? They got the All or Nothing. Then they have like that fucking Nazi hunting one, which is
yeah.
Oh wait, no, and then Nazi Hunters is a different.
No, there's another one.
Oh, it's just called Hunters.
Hunters, yeah, and then like Man in High Castle.
They're also bringing out films and stuff now. Like,
I mean, like it didn't have the worst selection of films, to be fair.
No, it doesn't.
Do you find though when you're looking up where to watch a film?
Oh, it needs to be absolutely specific.
It's on Amazon.co.uk and then you fucking
you have
to go on to it.
And Amazon may be bad, but Apple TV is the worst.
Yeah, you've said this before.
Apple TV is unusable though because you can't even connect it just to something regular like a smart TV.
And is it a case where it's just better in America or is it just
no? It's just like you need to be like an Apple cook. You need to be like, please.
You need an Apple TV, like.
Yeah.
Or to watch it on the TV. I had to get an iPad and like a special adapter because Apple are fucking horrible bastards, and to watch the morning show on it. And like
that's another one
I was literally on the production for C. I will never go through the effort to fucking watch that show because.
The worst thing is like they show you all these movies and you're like, oh my god, Apple TV is unreal, and then it's like $3.99.
You gotta pay for them. Like,
I'm paying you already. Don't fucking show me Tom Cruise's new movie if you're not gonna fucking show me Tom Cruise jumping off a building.
I'm gonna go off topic here, but like Mulan is coming out this week for €30, and we've talked about this, but it's coming out again just on the streaming service in December.
Yeah.
Nobody
So it
in
comes
the
out in
right.
December.
So it comes out in December.
Yeah.
No one in the right minds is going to pay.
I don't give
€30
a
for
fuck
it,
about
like.
Mulan.
No.
Okay, I don't care. I don't want another remake.
What is their deal there though? I suppose Sky Store does that.
The idea is that it was meant to be in cinemas. It wasn't. They're hoping that parents will buy it for the kids and just put it on.
Yeah, but
Which might work. It might work.
I just can't see kids being like, I want
wanna
to
see
see
it that-
fucking Mulan.
And like, I want to see it.
Mulan
that,
came out like 40 fucking years ago.
and I want to see it that bad
The
that you
adults
better
will probably be
pay
buying
€30 for it. Do you know
But
what I
that's
mean?
it, yeah. Like people like my sister will be buying Mulan. But anyway, like the other day, I went onto Disney Plus just to see what was on it, and I ended up watching Toy Story 4, which is actually great, to be honest.
I wasn't crazy on it, but
I quite liked it. It's no Toy Story 3, but it was great. But I did start off watching The Lion King.
The remake, the John Favreau remake, which cost like fucking $5 billion.
With the incredible cast, which looking at it now is actually worse than the original cast. But
the original cast is pretty good.
The original cast is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I was watching it and I was like, there's a reason why these lions were
Are
cartoon.
animated, so they can have
It
faces.
is so fucking weird
Off-putting.
looking at a
hyper-realistic,
a real in fucking parentheses lion do a fucking dance number, like, you know.
Yeah.
I did like the Jungle Book though.
Yeah, but that was a different buzz,
A few
though.
people really like that. I didn't see it.
I'd love to do an episode just all on these shitty fucking remakes. Apparently the Aladdin one is a fucking
shit
joke.
show. That looked like
It
a
is
joke.
a fucking piss
I
take.
refuse to watch all of these because they're so dear to me. Like, I mean, Mulan is extremely dear to me.
Mulan's my favourite one.
So is
Mulan has the best soundtrack.
Mulan's the greatest.
Like a man out of you, like
Oh,
I listen to that and like
what a
it's
banger.
like, I can feel the toxic masculinity.
Yeah, like just being absorbed from you, like.
I feel like I'm starting to resent all these films because I'm like, I do not want to fucking see another one of these remakes. Like,
It's,
you
it's
can get a
upsetting.
remake for everything.
It's upsetting.
They're
like.
probably gonna remake fucking Anastasia next.
100%, man.
It was a great
100%.
fucking film.
Anastasia's amazing. I love how the villain in that is what's his name, Rasputin.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
I like
It's a
how
great
I like
movie.
how
so is Pocahontas as well. You know,
Pocahontas
like
is
that's
fun as
great.
well.
You know, they're all so good, and they don't need real life.
You were
remakes.
raised on them, were you?
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
My
yeah.
sisters were big into like I've got.
Yeah, I
all
feel like
the-
sisters are such a big.
But it was
Yeah, if you have a
princesses.
sister in the
It
house,
was all
like, it's gonna be-
princesses, so it
Yeah,
was like
princess,
Mulan,
yeah.
and then like we had like some of the middle of the road, like El Roads, El Dorado.
Yeah, those few random ones.
Yeah,
are
a few
like,
ones I was like, oh yeah,
Good
I can
Rana's
book it.
class.
Do you know which one I always saw,
Emperor's
which is
New Groove.
crazy? Yeah, that's one of my favorite
Banger.
ones. by
Yeah, that's
miles.
great.
But you
And
know
the
what
second
weird
one's
one was
great as well.
for me? Treasure Planet. That was
That's
really,
a great-
I love it.
I loved it
It's
so much.
good.
What
It's
a
so
concept.
good. I wonder if I went
Is that
back
the one
and
where it
watched
starts
I
off in
went
live
back-
action?
it.
It starts in live action. He goes up to the treehouse and then
No.
he goes to Treasure Planet.
What is that?
I don't know.
What is that?
I don't know.
You have to bring back a crazy
I
memory for
don't
you there, man.
know.
Is that Winnie the Pooh?
No,
No,
I
he
know
goes up
exactly
to
what
the
you're talking
treehouse.
about.
Maybe it's Treasure Planet too, but no, it's Atlantis. Is it?
Atlantis.
Is that
Yeah.
that's how like
I
that?
don't know. Is it?
Or is it Treasure Planet?
Listeners, please get on to us.
if anyone knows which one that was.
Is it? No, it's on. I don't know.
I think it could be Treasure Planet, man. I think it really could be.
And he goes up, and then his parents grab him at the end. He's like, "Oh, hope you had a good adventure or whatever." I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God.
Wait. The Lego movie.
That's a banging flick.
It's a banging flick as well.
They're making a film of them.
Okay, we think we've yeah, they did. They made a second one, and they made a Lego Batman movie and
nice.
a Lego.
I didn't see any of them.
Apparently, the second one's really good too, and
Is
apparently
it?
the Batman one's really funny as
I'd
well.
imagine so.
But anyway, I think we've ranted enough about streaming services
And The Boys.
and the boys, and yeah, if you guys haven't watched the boys yet, we haven't spoiled too much yet. We've talked about it in so many previous episodes. Watch it. Perfect time. Season 2 is coming out week by week.
It's great. It's
It's
hilarious.
excellent.
It's very
and
good.
Actually, just really well
It just
made.
ticks every box you
Yeah.
want in a show. If you like action, romance, comedy, drama, it's got it all. But moving on, I think we should talk about our first film we're going to
And
talk
gore.
about this
It's
week.
really fucking
Yeah, it's
gory.
really
It's
gory,
so
which I
gory.
fucking love. So we're going to get on to a Netflix movie which was released this week. It came out last week, actually, excuse me. And it is Charlie Kaufman's latest film called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. If you don't know who Charlie Kaufman is, we've discussed a few of his films on this podcast in the past, but his biggest hits are Synecdoche, New York, Adaptation, Anomalisa, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. One of my personal absolute favorite
You
movies.
swayed me with that as well. I think that's my favorite like film about love.
Love, like, yeah, and of course one that me and Jack are fans of, being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Absolutely batshit off the walls. So this is his latest one.
It's a great name. John Malkovich becomes John Malkovich.
Malkovich.
Everything is John Malkovich.
Everything is John Malkovich. Yeah. We'll get into that as well in a minute. But yeah, so this is Charlie Kaufman's latest film. He has directed and written this one. It's worth noting that, I think, because he hasn't directed all of his stuff in the past, and arguably some of his more successful stuff was not directed by him.
Was it Eternal Sunshine directed by him?
No, that was Michel Gondry, a French director.
Adaptation was.
Was not either. That was Spike Jonze.
Oh Jesus.
So look, Charlie Kaufman is, I want to say a popular director, but he is also
I don't really think that he's like he's popular in the sense that like people who are into film like him.
Yeah,
I feel like he's very niche though.
He is niche. This film is about. It stars an Irish star as well, Jessie Buckley.
Jesse Buckley and Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons.
Not
as well.
Irish, but fucking creepy Todd.
Creepy Todd.
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
His career is one from Breaking Bad.
You know what? You're actually right. That's a good point. And he was only in one season as well. So.
And everyone loved him in El Camino as well.
He was good in El Camino.
Yeah,
he's very good.
He is good at
in Black Mirror. He was great as well.
Yeah,
I
he
loved
was
that
good
Star
in Black
Trek
Mirror.
episode.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know why Hollywood loves him so much. I was actually reading an article on it, and he's just got one of those faces, I suppose.
He does. And then we also has Damien Thewlis, who's played many characters, but he's Lupin.
David
David
Thewlis,
not Damien.
And
he plays the
Tony
father,
Collette.
doesn't he?
He plays the father.
Yeah, Tiernan, you know what I was thinking about when I was watching this? You know, when he's like slightly young, the father or whatever. I was like, that's what Tiernan thinks Christian Bale is in Ford versus Ferrari.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Coach out!
look at it. Yeah, it actually was.
Oh, eel pardon.
And he was meant to be stupid British.
Oh god.
Tony Collette. The three of us are mega fans of hers.
Yeah.
And it's essentially just about this girl going on a trip to meet her boyfriend of 7 weeks. Parents, but she is thinking of ending things. A lot of it is just monologues and conversations.
Incredible writing.
Really incredible, really good, which Charlie Kaufman is just known for.
There's a poem in it, and it's just genuinely like the poem alone would be successful without the film.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's based off a
stunning.
book though, isn't it?
It is based off a book,
Yeah.
you are correct. Which Charlie Kaufman has done a few times, but I think what he does is, the whole idea is he adapts something but puts his own take on it. But he has
Essentially makes it fucking mental.
Yeah. So the film takes a turn, it kind of goes all over the place. She meets his parents, they're a bit odd.
I think we're going to be interpreting this quite a lot.
I think it's a film to be interpreted. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I said this when we were talking about contemporary horror. And it's nice to see that it spilled out of horror a bit. These films are basically like the old like Beckett play kind of Harold Pinter spec audiences and storytelling. And by that, it's basically that there's no story,
and it's just crazy.
You can read whatever you want onto it, and I really appreciate this type of filmmaking, especially because in the likes of like The Lighthouse and Mother, they look absolutely phenomenal, and this film, I'd almost say, looks better than both of them.
It's gorgeous,
gorgeous film.
Absolutely stunning, and it's drab. Like, it's not, the scenery is not, it's very contained.
Yeah, it's
very
like 50s wallpaper, but it's really
looks
vibrant.
it's framed, so the aspect ratios
yeah.
like a
What was it
TV.
again? What was
It's
it?
like
Like 16 to 9. I think,
Yeah,
like
something
that.
weird. So yeah, no, it actually is a gorgeous looking movie,
Looks
especially
really
the car scenes. I don't know, I just love
They
them.
were so good.
Yeah.
They were so good. And like, I mean, I thought as well the car scenes were very claustrophobic as well. Like, they kept you really stuck in the car, and you felt.
And it was
stuck
through
in this car for the
it was through the kind of frozen window, which is like I always like them shots rather than actually being in the car with someone, like, you know, you're kind of like looking in.
So let's go into a little bit of spoilery territory here if anyone hasn't seen it. If you want to watch it, I would recommend it, but just expect something very, very weird, and expect a film that you're gonna have to sit
I
there
think I was
and work
lucky
through.
that, like, when I was talking to someone right before who was actually just currently watching it, and he was literally like, "This is fucking mental." I had to look up an explanation at the end, and so I knew going in that it was something that, like, you were gonna have to work out rather than it wasn't gonna be an easy watch, and I think that did me well. So, like, for anyone who's listening, like, don't walk into this expecting like that it's gonna be if like even a fun watch. Like,
No.
I mean, it's enjoyable, but I mean, it's still at the same time, it's like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the whole film, I kept just being like, what the hell is this about?
Mm.
But I was engaged, and that's all down to Charlie Kaufman's writing. His writing is just spectacular.
All right, if you were to put an interpretation on it.
I felt it was about...
Now wait, did any of us look up videos?
I actually didn't.
I didn't.
No, I haven't. I was kind of. I fucking finished it like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday, so it's still quite fresh in my mind. Look, I'm not good at interpretations. I'm not.
Let's do it. Give your best one.
I think there was themes of like insecurity majorly throughout this, both in being insecure as a man and being insecure as a woman. She's insecure about herself this whole time, and she's insecure about her relationship, and she's insecure about the fact that she's in a relationship, and she's constantly justifying those things. And then I thought those themes were explored with the janitor as well. You know, he's insecure about, you know, the girls laughing at him in the ice cream store, and then that was brought back with... But it's also... I don't know, like, I mean, that was my biggest takeaway from it, was the insecurity kind of factor about it as well. But also, I thought there was lots of jabs about, you know, romance and like love and how it's romanticized in absolutely everything, and there's absolutely nothing particularly romantic about these two people. And if there's anything that's going to remove romance, it's your fucking parents. It's meeting their parents, your in-laws, and how fucking strange that can be.
And they were all, like, bonkers.
So fucking weird. They made me so uncomfortable.
So much baby food.
Like it was just, and I also think that there was a little bit of a sense of like you being brought into this person's life very quick. You know, she knows him 7 weeks, her boyfriend, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into his life, and it might be a bit fucking weird, and he's just going with it and how normal it is, and then all of a sudden you might be questioning, am I with this fucking weirdo? And then there's also those hints that, like, is it her life as well? You know, you get those few bits where she's looking at the photo of him going, no, that's me. And I think this identity is a huge thing as well, is this who I am?
And they're kind of, like, absorbed into each other. I found that, what I kind of took away from it, mainly because of the parents, was that it was kind of like, I was watching it and I was like, is this what being inside someone's head who's going through like vicious dementia is like?
There's definitely parts of that, the forgetfulness.
And because everything was so repetitive, everything was like literally like it was the chains are, I have the chains for the tires, you know,
repeating.
And it was like foreshadowing the whole time, but it never actually led to anything. And then like the whole, like she was picking up her phone and it said like a different name on it every time, and then it was the janitor talking.
And she was called a different name every day, so it went from Lucy, Lucianda.
And I think her name actually was Lucy.
Yeah. So no, he refers to her as Lucy,
and then he calls her Alex or Ali or something like that.
Lexi or something.
And then she's like,
it goes it completely changes.
Yeah.
But what I thought was that he's a janitor, obviously. That's what I think, because she finds the uniform. I'm going fully into spoilers here. She finds the uniform. There's not a whole lot to
spoil, to be fair.
Yeah, she finds the uniform in the fucking basement, and he doesn't want her to go in there. And also, she's looking at... I think they're the same person, and he's living in some sort of fantasy, but he's getting...
I thought she was like him looking in at his own
his own.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like he's talking to himself, but it's almost as if he's going through these key memories. He never actually reaches the house. It's just kind of like he's in the car going along. He's talking to himself about these memories, but he's manifested it as this girl, but we're getting it from the girl's perspective. Sometimes she's like going down to the basement. He doesn't want her to go, but she finds her own artwork. So we're seeing it as she's an actual person, she's an actual character, but in reality, she's his subconscious, and he's driving, thinking about horrible things that have happened to him, because his parents are clearly fucked.
Yeah.
His dad's like horrible. Like, he just seems to be a fucking arsehole as well. Yeah, and the way he talks about the girl's art and everything as well. Yeah. And then she goes down and sees his art. So that I felt that was like...
his name is on the art.
What I thought that was is that everything that she said that she was, he then in turn became. That like made her so less real for me, because like even remember she's reading the poem, and then she goes into his room, she finds the poem, and he's reading it.
He's reading it, yeah.
And then she goes down and she finds all of the artwork, and she's like, "This
His name
is
is on it.
literally
Yeah,
my
and
artwork."
all the books they mentioned are there as well.
And even like the whole thing, like she's a physicist, and then like in his room, it's like
Physics, and he's like books about fucking Marie Curie.
Exactly, and
like,
it's like really hinting towards that. Like, is she even real? Like, she becomes a different woman at one point. You know, I mean, remember there's like
the girl from The Boys.
Yeah.
And
I also love the jab at Robert Zemeckis in that.
Yeah, that's
which
so
is
funny.
crazy.
That was
Gas,
so funny.
yeah,
How did they
really
fucking
funny.
allow that?
I have no
I'd say
idea.
they're mates.
Would you say? I don't know if Robert Zemeckis would take something like that well, because Charlie Kaufman is like really fucking weird. If you've ever seen interviews with him,
Robert Zemeckis is a far better director than Charlie Kaufman.
I know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually love Robert Zemeckis' films, but I could see Charlie Kaufman being so like snooty about him, being like,
Oh yeah, being like,
fucking,
you're a fucking sellout, man.
yeah.
But-
Even though Zemeckis makes fucking incredible.
But even the film, because I actually saw this last week, the film that's in it then becomes his life, and it's how he meets that girl.
yeah.
And she pops into his life for a second, but then it comes back to Jessie Buckley, and it's all just taking place on this kind of meandering, like broken up.
I think
parts
he
of
could be
memory.
in purgatory.
Yeah, there could be a bit of that kind of.
He's
a
in
thing.
like hell or purgatory or something. He's reliving these horrible memories because those girls
Because
in
there's
the
hinted,
fucking
it's,
those,
hin-
yeah.
it's hinted that he does die at the end with the dance
pig.
routine.
Well, the
The
pig.
and
pig
Well, the
and
pig is dead in the thing, and the pig is rotten, and there's so much fucking meat and pork and pig imagery in this, and then the animated pig kind of takes him out.
I think that it's him. Like, I think that the way it kind of goes about telling it, even the fact that like the dad is clearly losing his mind, the mother is like fucking well off, lost his mind, all that.
She's on the edge of a nervous breakdown every 2 seconds.
All that shit's hereditary as well. I just think it's him like basically losing his fucking head in the school.
Yeah, and like a big kind of Alzheimer's dementia. Obviously, because they blatantly touch on that as well. But you know, when the janitor is like stripping
off
in the
his
car,
clothes.
that's a real
thing.
thing. Where like and they're like, you know, they're you know, people with dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff, like they don't know like why I'm wearing clothes. They might feel weird temperatures in their bodies and stuff and all. And then like also I found it was like he doesn't know how to use the car anymore, and that was a big thing where it's like I physically don't know what this does. So I thought it was touching on so many different things as well, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, because especially when it starts with Jessie Buckley's kind of entire monologue of, you know, I'm thinking of ending things, and you know, her trying to rationalize why she's with this guy.
And I read that as suicide at the start.
So did I. I'm thinking of ending things.
And then it
like, oh,
slowly
it's-
turned into a relationship, and then
Yeah,
it kind of came
relationship.
full circle at the end, where like it very much like not suicide, but I mean like just ending things.
Ending
you know,
things,
I mean
yeah.
like taking off your clothes and walking in the snow.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it definitely, it has. This is the weird thing about Charlie Kaufman, because he makes extremely weird movies that toy around with extremely weird concepts and stuff. And as you say, that's you know the kind of Beckett stuff. It's definitely like that, but also you can tell they come from a place of just like his own personal experience and stuff. And that was like, you know, you can see that in Adaptation, which is about him.
About him, yeah.
And then, you know, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is literally
Being John Malkovich.
yeah, even though John Malkovich is a different level. I would have loved to have seen that pitch to John Malkovich, like showing and be like,
But wasn't it that they had it there, and then they were like, "Do you want
be in
to
this?
be this John Malkovich?"
Because
And,
like if they didn't get John Malkovich for that movie,
like the script's out the window.
like,
Yeah.
how you
I
do
feel like
it,
they wrote the script and then worked it around John Malkovich.
yeah, they're like fingers crossed he'll say yes.
Because I mean, like they're even like, "Aren't you in that movie?" And he's like, "No." That's good. That was just in the
The
script.
script,
Like,
like,
it's
yeah.
applicable to being any actor.
But like there's clearly some stuff here, there's some personal stuff that Charlie Kaufman was writing about and directing in it, and he's a good director. But I think the reason why his own films don't do as well as films that are directed by other people is because he really embraces the absurdity and he lets it go whatever way he wants, and he let this film go whatever way he wanted. I don't think that was a bad thing.
And I mean, we all took 3 different interpretations away from it,
Which is great.
which is super cool.
so
Yeah.
cool from the film.
These are the type of films where when you like just look it up and kind of get like a fucking mind view.
Yeah, and get a bit of a rabbit hole, kind of like I could look into this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like if you know anyone who's been through fucking like the whole deterioration of the mind, like And it's just cool to, like, if you look at it through that lens, it is kind of like a perfect example of like how fucking distorted and
Especially
mental
how she's
everything is.
she's walking down the stairs and it's like looped and it's like going through
looped,
different
yeah,
stages
yeah,
at
yeah,
time.
Yeah,
It's like when people are like you meet people with Alzheimer's dementia and they're
And
like,
they're
who are you?
and like
It's like, oh right, and
it's,
then
it's starting all over again.
it's because you've aged.
Yeah,
But in your mind,
it's just
in
this.
their mind, you're still fucking like a kid or something.
I mean,
maybe.
that even happens with the old makeup at the end. The old makeup just, it's meant to look fucking stupid. And it does, and it's kind of like, well, they're young, even despite the makeup on their face. You know?
Yeah. And like I felt as well, like as you say, just the distortion of time itself, like the whole time was just so intangible in this film.
Yeah.
So is this happening
And
in one
the
night?
way that's like locations just appeared. So
yeah.
Like it's so like, oh, we're here. Oh, look, we're at the ice cream
You
place.
know what I love
We're at
though?
the school.
If you look at it through the whole dementia or Alzheimer's aspect, the way that song, what was it fucking
It's fucking
the ice cream song.
Oh yeah.
And like a catchy jingle like that, even if you've got like Alzheimer's,
Would
or
stay
dementia,
in your head.
would stay in your head. And like Jesse Plemons is belting
He's
it.
belting it like absolutely this was a weird one because I'm a big fan. I would say I'm a big fan of Charlie Kaufman. Like
You are a big fan.
I
of
am,
Charlie
and
Kaufman.
like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. If you haven't fucking seen it, guys, I cannot stop talking about it. It's like
great
most-
Beck song.
it's the most Beck's whole soundtrack in that film is
But for some
fucking
reason it's not on Spotify.
It's
it came
not.
back on Spotify for a couple of months.
It's really hard to find, man. It's really
It's
hard
only
to
on
find.
YouTube,
I'm obsessed with the soundtrack. But anyway, it's magical. It's amazing. This is not. It will fill you with just existential dread.
Yeah.
And that's what Charlie Kaufman is good at. He's 100% good at. This one was a weird experience for me. I kind of went in with high expectations, enjoyed it, but came out being like, that was not what I expected. And I'm glad we can have such a conversation about it. But
I
it's
would have preferred
hard
more
to,
horror, I think.
and you know what? The horror stuff was done really well. I would love to see Charlie Kaufman do a full-blown horror movie.
But I am like in the approach that or the direction that film's going. I think like 5 years down the line, we'll all be sitting here and fucking talking about one of these films a week where it's just so interpretive, so kind of ridiculous. And I really like that because at the end of the day, we talk about non-stop how fucking formulaic Hollywood is.
Yeah.
And films like this it's just really refreshing. Even if you don't get it, it's still refreshing. Just appreciate the way it looks. Appreciate the dialogue. And that's even like The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse, you could sit and listen to the dialogue of The Lighthouse and you fucking feel like you were like hunting Moby Dick.
Yeah, honestly. they're immersive films.
But they're very immersive, yeah. And it just like, maybe don't try and make sense of them, even though I think
That's
it's
exactly
fun,
what we
like.
tried to do.
Yeah.
I think it's enjoyable to do that, but you don't have to make
Enjoy
sense
the
of them.
ride.
Yeah, and like what I love about it as well is like all the actors in this clearly just got behind Charlie Kaufman. You know what I mean? He was telling them to be weird and absurd and strange, and they just went for it. Particularly Jessie Buckley. She was so weird and quirky in this.
She is really like out there doing bits. Isn't
She really is. I can't wait to see what she like gets up to because I really liked her in this.
Yeah.
Just of how I loved her delivery of all the dialogue, and I love Jesse Plemons as well. He was
Love Jesse Plemons.
excellent. He was really good.
He was
And,
literally like, I have no idea what I was
yeah.
about. He was like, I will not say that to Charlie.
There was also another nod to another very popular movie, A Beautiful Mind. You know, at the end when he's making the speech and he's like looking at Jessie Buckley and he's like accepting the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
That happens in A Beautiful Mind.
Beautiful
Russell
Mind,
Crowe, and he like looks at his wife, and it was like,
What's that for? Because I've been seeing that was recently added to Netflix. Is that worth watching?
which
Beautiful Mind?
Yeah, it is
I've
really-
heard it's incredible. Like,
it's really good, and it's Russell Crowe.
True story, or?
True story. But he's essentially this like physicist, or maybe he was a chemist, and he was a genius, but he had severe I don't know if schizophrenia is the word. I think it's maybe it is schizophrenia, but he literally would see people that were there that were not there, and they would be full on telling him things, and he like battled throughout it all and went on to win a Nobel Prize. And it's a great story with great acting, but it's also your formulaic Oscar movie. Like it is.
That's why I've avoided
your
it.
So typical Oscar movie, and that's why Charlie Kaufman clearly got his little dig in there. But I wonder. I need to look up, has he been nominated? Because when Synecdoche came out, which is like probably his most famous film, would you say? Like it's the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman, where essentially a writer creates a fake New York in a giant warehouse.
I have it here. It had was not even like
He's
got
ne-
a Golden Globe.
That
or
is
anything.
insane. I actually cannot believe. Oh no, he has won one Oscar. He
And,
won
Animalista.
for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Did he, yeah?
Which I am delighted about. because
Animalista
that
got a
film is-
nomination as well.
Yeah, and adaptation got nominated for a screenplay. So this guy
And-
is in the realms of Hollywood.
And like most of the actors
Are big stars.
from adaptation won Oscars.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah, fucking the only one who didn't was Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
Devastated. Devastated. Anyway, will we get on to Tenet real quick?
Let's get up to Tenet
Absolutely.
because we got a lot to talk about.
Okay, guys, so let's talk about Tenet. I'm going to go first because I actually really enjoyed this film. A couple of things let me down in it. I think it's the least... We talk about Nolan a lot in our other podcasts. Go listen to it. It's the Nolan film with the least development of its characters, I feel.
Absolutely.
I feel, that's intentional. But I feel that in a couple of years, this film will be more appreciated after several watches because you'll see the bigger picture of the things. So obviously, like in films like Inception, Interstellar, I mean, Murph gets so much fucking backstory. He's got kids. He's got a fucking granddad there. You can hear about his wife dying, etc., etc. Here, the whole point is it's kind of like a... My least favourite part of the film was when it was kind of like James Bondy, when it was like, we need to go here to crash the plane to get... I'm fully fucking spoiling this film, by the way. It was kind of like, we need to go here to get the
It was a
thing.
Globetrotron.
Globetrotron.
It was.
kind
It was,
of
it
thing.
was the closest thing you'll get to a
Yeah,
Bond.
yeah. It was like, this is your Christopher Nolan Bond film, and yeah, the sound design was also shit, and didn't have Hans Zimmer because they had Ludwig Göransson, who is a good friend of Nolan. He did Black Panther's music and he did this music, and he reversed it and put it forward a couple of times, and I thought it was okay, but Hans Zimmer would have done a much better job.
I just know he would have nailed it.
He just would have done so much better. So I've done a lot of thinking about the film or whatever, and obviously I've seen a lot of people who've watched it abroad with subtitles or whatever, and like they're being like, yeah, like it makes
Way
like
more
the
sense when
viewing
you
a
have
lot
it.
more viewing when you can hear what they're saying. So I don't know whether it's intentional or Nolan was like, obviously when they go through the turntable and it's like
I'll tell you why I don't think it was intentional.
I don't
Because
think it was
his
fucking
sound
intentional.
design has been terrible in
for
other
fucking
films.
loads of films.
Interstellar
Interstellar is the loudest film ever.
It's so terrible. And I thought the sound design for Inception was a bit shaky at times.
Yeah.
And Dunkirk, it was a bit shaky.
Do you think that he's just trying to fucking make it so like maybe
No.
you missed something?
He does
No,
everything.
I-
He does everything there and then.
Yeah, I think.
So like when they're on that boat at the start, they're on the fucking boat, and like Nolan's not going to
sound.
be
Yeah.
like,
That's your
I'm not.
sound.
and
recording.
that's ridiculous.
He's
That's
afraid
just-
of ADR. He's
That's
100%
genuinely
afraid,
like
yeah.
I love what he does with special effects and how he just creates his own physical effects, and he barely uses
But
even
sound,
VFX.
sound should be the exception.
But sound, like, it's irresponsible filmmaking.
Yeah.
Filming a shot on a boat and they're actually on the fucking boat.
can't hear a
I
fucking
mean, they
word
were
they're saying.
screaming on the boat and you couldn't fucking hear it.
Yeah.
And like, that was just, for me when I was watching that, I was like, alright, so this film's going to be hard to
I mean, he
understand.
was-
Not because of the fucking high concept plot, but because I can't fucking hear what they're saying.
He must genuinely. I don't think he's. I don't like. I'd love to look into it. Has he ever ADR'd something and said, "Okay, we're just gonna have to dub that later"? Like, I mean, I get why you might want to do it because it doesn't look smooth sometimes. But if
Yeah.
I cannot fucking hear what the actor is saying, and the biggest problem with Tenet is it's a film full of exposition that you need to hear.
Oh
to follow.
man, I literally, Jack will attest to this, I got a large Coke during it and I have the smallest bladder in the world. You can also attest to that.
yeah.
So I had to go to the toilet during it, and I was literally waiting for a scene where they weren't fucking just
Explaining
talking about
something like-
everything that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
going on, and I was like, well, there's at no point I either have to sacrifice an action scene or the thing that explains why that fucking action scene is
Is
happening.
happening. Yeah.
You know.
I think we should. Okay, maybe I'm gonna reel it back in a bit here because we've kind of gotten into it. Can you maybe, Jack, just give a basic explanation about what it's about without spoiling anything outright? Can you just give a basic rundown of the plot, like, you know what I mean, like?
Okay, yeah, so it starts with the protagonist. So he's not named throughout the film, John David Washington, and he is given a test at the start of the movie where he has to break into this it's this opera house.
Which was a brilliant opening
yeah,
scene.
it's a fantastic opening scene, as Nolan films always are.
Always are.
And basically he passes said test. He gets told about this new technology that is from the future, so Nolan loves to give time. and they're only finding it now. It's sent back, so it's like they use radioactive technology to displace time and put things back where they came from.
Yeah.
So it's slowly coming back through time now, and
Shifting
scientists-
the entropy. As
Yeah,
they say,
shifting the
like,
entropy,
20 times in the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
And it's called inversion.
Inversion.
So they don't necessarily call it time travel in this film.
No, it's not time travel.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Like
So John David Washington gets recruited. He goes visits the scientists. He goes see what happens. He then assembles this team, including Robin Pattinson and
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
yeah, basically. Like I was very like fucking hell. This is very kind of Bondish, and they basically have to find this algorithm. They go to a couple of places and they eventually
Which
find
was
this.
extremely MacGuffin-y, just to say.
Total MacGuffin.
Oh, was it total
Total
MacGuffin? Yeah,
MacGuffin.
it's not even an algorithm. And eventually they find this villain, and the movie goes up to one point, and then it flips everything on its head, literally, and that's all I'm gonna really say. I don't want to say too much more. It's got the stars of the cast. Acting's brilliant.
Acting's great, to be fair.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
is.
good,
Yeah, I'm not even the biggest fan of John David Washington, but the
I-
action
I
scenes are
held it. He
fantastic.
held it, I felt.
I didn't like John David Washington or Kenneth Branagh.
That's crazy you didn't like Kenneth Branagh. I thought he was really good.
It was fucking
I
scary.
just
Yeah,
It was
genuinely.
fucking
he-
scary.
The
he's
thing
a
about
good
Kenneth,
villain.
the
He's a
thing
good
about Kenneth
on-screen
Branagh
villain.
is, I feel like in this it worked a little better, but I feel like he just plays cliches.
He does, but it really worked for Tenet.
But you see, I just felt at the same time it was like, look, Nolan. I mean, Tarantino did it this year, which is like a homage to Hollywood. I get like it's kind of like a love story to Bond films with your own Nolan twist on it, but at the same time, I mean, like the protagonist, like John David Washington's walking around, people are fucking bringing bullets back towards them when they've never even fucking touched them. Kenneth Branagh is just as fucking, you give me vodka. And
It is a
and,
bit,
and
yeah,
it's kind of like, oh come on, they're meant to be cliched, but at the same time, like, I still want to watch like good characters.
I know. I mean, I'm gonna defend this film, even though I don't necessarily know where how
Even though I
feel
don't
about it.
fucking understand.
Like this is the thing. Like it was so fucking incomprehensible.
Yeah.
And like I'm not even talking Inception incomprehensible. Like I mean, I came out of Inception with a relative understanding of what had happened, and then when I watched it again the second time, I was like, oh, that really clicks way better. And my biggest problem with Tenet is it didn't have that click moment where it all came together, and it was like, oh, I was just
Man, I
Yeah.
like
Struggling
All
with
right,
A couple
I-
of the flashback
But,
scenes.
but,
as
but
well.
in saying that, I'm just gonna defend it a little bit more here. It did keep me engaged to a point where I was still enjoying it, even though I didn't
Yeah.
really know what was
but
happening.
that's because it's Nolan and like it's.
Yeah.
But that's like a Michael Bay film will keep you
yeah.
engaged the whole
So
way.
the argument I wanna, I mean, there's a little bit of truth in that.
That is fucking
I mean, it's
funny.
more, it's
too.
more impressive.
I mean,
than Michael.
like pretty things on screen, explosions.
I know it's
action.
the dangling the keys
It
in front of the
is,
kid,
yeah.
right? But in saying that as well, the character development as well was absolutely minuscule, which was a little bit annoying. But then again, you don't go to a Nolan film for the character development. But when the story is as incomprehensible as it is, it's pretty hard not to want to see something in the characters.
But it's not even character development at the same time. I just thought John David Washington was just so casually walking around like.
They tried to make him Bond.
Like little quips and like.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't like his quips. I really didn't like his
no, they
quips.
didn't. And another thing about it is,
It was
like,
like-
He was
bit of
this
urgency.
close to seeing like you kiss your mother with this man.
yeah, I mean, he literally was.
Bit of urgency, John. Like they're about to turn the world around. Like.
yeah, that's very true. He was very blasé about everything. But another thing about it is as well is my thing about it was I came out going, okay, it was fine. I don't really think I understood that, but I'm looking forward to watching it again and again and again, and hopefully if I watch it a couple of times, I'll really come out of it and going, that was good. And I think that's a good thing about the film. I think if a film warrants a second watch or a third watch, is a good thing. A lot of people I know would argue that's a bad thing.
Like I can see why that's a good thing and why that's a bad thing, but at the same time, Inception warrants a second watch, Interstellar warrants a second watch, but at the end of both of those films, you go, like I get
There's a
like
story there
aspects
to
of that.
comprehend.
They're-
Yeah.
they're-
Okay,
they're-
that's fair.
I get the bones of
like,
that, yeah.
like even if you don't understand the concepts behind them, you understand why he was in the bookcase. You understand, if that thing didn't stop spinning, he was still in the dream. Like different things like that. In Tenet, major plot points in the film, major things that were happening in the film, you had no idea why they were going on. And it's not why they were going on because the concept's just that incomprehensible. It's why they were going on because it wasn't fucking explained. It wasn't acknowledged. Like, for example, where the fuck did the inversion machines come from?
They're from the future, I'm pretty sure.
But they're from the future. So they were sent. So that like time capsule was sent back to Kenneth Branagh, and filled up money, and it was basically like, all right, here, go. This is your fortune. You have to do this for us, basically.
It was a bit like Looper. Looper, it's like, use your money.
Essentially, and like, go ahead, kind of live this life. At one stage, you're going to have to put this algorithm together and these 9 pieces and everything like that. But where the fuck did he get the plans to build the machines?
Well, probably got the plans. They probably sent them back in time.
How did the CIA get them?
Well, they talk about this because it's the grandfather paradox, where it's like,
if you go back
in time and kill your grandfather,
he's never going to be able
to be born. So you can't be born to kill your grandfather.
I think you need to throw a certain. I think you just need to sit back and enjoy the movie for a certain point.
100%. But it is. I agree with you there. Just say I'm not getting into the time travel element.
I think they really should have fucking. You know the way that he gets. Like, we're going to spoilers territory now, guys. So he takes the pill at the start or whatever, and he gets waken up. Thinks it's going to kill him, and it's kind of like, was he actually being tortured? Did he fail the mission? Did he pass the mission? Apparently, he passed the mission, and they brought him to that van and then tested him or whatever to make sure he could do Tenet. Yeah. But it was just so unclear for me. He just wakes up, and all these characters just kind of turn up. Michael Caine's in this, and he's like, "Oh well, the bomb went off," which is. What Michael Caine talks about is the penultimate scene of the movie. Yeah. Basically.
And that is so
brushed away.
That's a thrown away conversation. I mean, like, you could be paying so much attention to that. You still wouldn't have a fucking clue why that fight was happening at the end of the film. And, like, an issue that I had as well with that whole opening scene, the opera house, that was just fucking action over substance.
It was.
It was so, like, that didn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, he was always going to be a part of Tenet. Because that's how he invented Tenet, apparently. The loop continued.
And then also as well as it was kind of like so you have this, like, he's on top of the windmill. What are those called? Is that what they're called? Windmills?
Yeah, they're windmills, aren't they? The big propellers.
Yeah,
windmills. Sorry, it's sundials. No, windmills.
Are we talking about the inversion machines? Or are we talking?
No, sorry. You know at the start of it, and then at the end of it ends where it starts. Essentially,
they hide them out in the fucking.
Hide them out in the
ocean in the windmills.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, and it was just like these kind of throw off kind of scenes, like, and it worked in Inception because Inception opens up with Cobb washing up on the beach, and Saito has him, there, and Saito's an old man. Then it cuts to the exact same beach, the exact same place, but at the start of the movie.
Yeah. And
that was to throw you off, but it works. I felt Tenet did that a few times where it was deliberately throwing you off the scent. And then it was just like, you're to a point where I genuinely don't know what the fuck is happening here.
Alright, so aside from, like, now I'm going to say that when I was watching this film, it was the keys in front of the face thing. I did enjoy it to a certain extent. But the more I sat on it over the whole, like, couple of weeks since I've seen it, I can't get behind it because when we think about it, like, everything we've just talked about, right? One, the sound design was absolutely atrocious.
That's
unforgivable. Horrendous. That's unforgivable because you can't understand what they're saying. The scene, and it is a film where you need to understand what they're saying because there's scenes where they're talking backwards and then they're talking in English, and that was just it's incoherent. You can't hear it. Like, it's unforgivable, as Ian said. The acting with the characters, they weren't really developed, in my opinion. I thought that the action scenes in general were very much kind of there for the sake of it, and I also thought that the fight scenes and the inversion fight scenes
look strange.
They look like Mac from fucking Always Sunny doing karate.
Yeah, why didn't they just? I know Nolan loves the fucking practical effect. I watched the behind the scenes, and John David Washington backward punching, and it's like, okay, Nolan, we love you. You can do whatever you want. Like, you fucking, you drove a plane into a building for this movie. Like, just use a little bit of CGI. Like, it can be done so well, and it can look really good. But, like, this just kind of looks like shit. It kind of looks like a dream punching.
Yeah, and even just on a practical sense, if you think of how much force you exert to throw a forward punch, to pull that back, you're not going to get the same force, so it's just going to look strange.
And it did. And I thought that the fight looked between John David Washington and John David Washington looked fucking weird forward and backwards. And I thought that plot point, which was meant to be this kind of little intelligent thing, was so obvious to everyone I've spoken about.
Yeah,
that
I
he was
mean,
fighting
I
John
think we
David
saw
Washington.
that coming. Like,
And
yeah.
I just thought as the plot went on, like aside from all of the technical things that I had a big issue with, and all of like the plot points that I just thought were there for the sake of it, I also thought it just created this kind of concept and this world, and it didn't set up rules, and it didn't follow them.
It was mentioned, like weird stuff was mentioned. It was like, oh, by the way, mate, if you see yourself, something might bad will happen.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, and then he just turns around and it's kind of like, oh, by the way, you need oxygen. Oh, by the way, if you get shot with a bullet, it goes the other way when you get inverted. I was like, what? And it's like, so you get worse as you go on, and then it's just like, we can save her. And how do you save her?
Yeah,
it has to be some sort of sacrifice, obviously.
They went
because that does make sense. It's like if you get shot with an inverted bullet, it does make sense that it's like it's only going to get worse. Do you know what I mean? Like it does kind of make sense, but as you say,
but the whole thing is they go into the machine. Everyone gets inverted so that they can go and save her, and they have to get to the other inverted machine where the plane was. But throughout that entire course, there's times where things are moving forward, and things then in different scenes things are moving backwards.
Well, I think
everything's
it's the portrayal
on a predetermined path.
Yeah,
so
and it's the portrayal of inversion in it. So it's that while it looks like things are moving forward to you, you'd have to imagine it where they would be going backwards for him.
But where they would be going backwards, but that would be okay if at the same time there wasn't things that were moving backwards while he's just moving forwards anyway.
I know. It's like when they find it's like when they send the two teams, and the red team, I don't know which
and you
one.
don't know. You don't. You can't, like, how would you know they're inverted?
Yeah.
I mean, how would you?
One of them found a sniper, and it's like, okay, so what? Like, if it's a grandfather paradox as well. If the red team found a sniper, then the blue team would know where it was, but the red team could have killed him. Does that mean that the red team killed him or the blue team killed him? And you just end up being like, the grandfather paradox you have to throw out. Everyone just says to throw it out and just shut up and enjoy the movie at some stage.
But I mean,
it's a bit unforgivable, like.
But it also is. But the whole thing about, like, when you were saying you don't want to approach time travel, you just gotta sit back and enjoy the film. The whole thing when you're talking about film to do with time is it is so unbelievably ridiculous. That film has never done it in a way that it was like, believable. Yeah, all right, that's good. That works. Like Endgame just threw it away completely, and they were like, we're skipping this part. Time travel is here. And I appreciated that so much.
Well, they established a rule.
They established a rule,
and they said that's how we're doing it, and that's fine.
And that was it, and everyone was okay with it. But with Tenet, if they're approaching this time construct and this construct of inversion, you really need to set up your boundaries there. Yeah, you do. And you need to live within those boundaries. And if you can't just go ahead, because this is what he did. You can't just go ahead, film a film forward, and then film it again backward. You can't do that, put it together, and expect, okay, this makes sense. And audiences and everyone who went to see it is too afraid to fucking say that this film wasn't great. It wasn't fucking great. The script doesn't make fucking sense.
See, my fear is I'll watch it a second or third time and go, fuck.
But Inception and Interstellar were films that you came away from, you knew they were great, you knew that the elements you didn't get on a second watch you would.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to Devil's Advocate a tiny bit here.
Do you think that the sound design is going to be better the second time
around? Oh no, like, I mean, I'm watching it with subtitles, not without a doubt, like, I mean,
fair enough.
And I do totally agree about Inception, Interstellar, like, that's a perfect point, but my other thing was as well is, I can't help but think the reason we have a film like Tenet is purely because of Christopher Nolan's bar that he set in the past, because before Tenet we didn't have films like Inception and Interstellar.
No, I know, yeah.
And now it's become the norm for like your casual audience to watch this intelligent blockbuster inverted commas. So
wait, why I think where you're ending up here is that if Tenet was before Inception, we'd all be like, wow.
No, I think if Tenet was before Inception, we'd hate it even more. We'd be like, this is diabolical.
I will not be watching this a second time.
I think it's a little bit of Nolan going, I pushed the boundaries with Inception and people got it. I pushed the boundaries with Interstellar. People seem to get it on the worst part. I'm just going to go fucking batshit on Tenet. Because to be fair, in saying that, we talked about following, and that wasn't the easiest to follow because there was a lot going on there. Now it did come together, and you did understand what was happening, but there was some difficult plot points in there that you were trying and going, hang on a minute, why is he there? What point in time is this? He definitely has toyed around with. He's pulled away from that.
I think that's along the scale. That's along the same scale as Inception and Interstellar at the same time.
You're true, and like, look, I'm arguing here that my point is like, oh, the only reason this is so confusing is because his other movies were slightly less confusing.
I think
Do you know what I mean?
like,
That's the kind of point I'm making, which isn't fair.
I just think that, like, love Nolan, massive fan of everything he's done. I love how he's basically changed film. He's changed blockbusters for the better. When I look at this film, I see very little redeeming qualities except for the actual production of the film.
And Robert Pattinson.
And I think Robert Pattinson,
I
of
loved
course.
him so much.
God, this is like the perfect Batman audition.
we were talking about this, and we were like, one of the lads was like, oh, he'd make a really good Bond. And I was like, yeah, but you can't be Bond and Batman. Like, the universe would collapse in on itself. But he could do both. Like,
he also has COVID-19, guys, about this.
Crazy.
Poor dude.
Yeah.
Guys,
Did he say
just trying to
something
make a
about
movie.
hygiene on the Batman set?
Did he say it was
So,
bad?
like, no, he was like, we're going to make it, like, unhygienic or something. This is, like, pre-COVID.
Oh,
He was like, it's going to be, like, primal.
Oh.
And then, like, someone pulled that interview up and was like, poorly aged
I think
things.
a few of them got sick on that set. So,
Yeah.
poor guys.
But anyway, back to Tenet. I do think that as a film, it's getting a lot of credit because people.
I
people
think
Well, it's getting more divided opinions than anything he's brought out in the last
but I think
10
that's
years.
because half the people are just kind of like, right, this is big. Like we went with about 5 or 6 people, I think, and I think like 4 of them came out, Jack, and they were like, didn't understand a fucking thing, and me and you were kind of like, yeah, kind of like I got quite a bit of it, and we kind of like extrapolated a bit, and I think we sat on it a bit. We both like developed. I developed a kind of resentment towards it. You went the opposite way. But I mean, that whole divided opinions thing, I mean, that must be down to the fact that, like, the 4 of us, 6 went, 4 hadn't a fucking breeze.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even a tangible idea of what it could be about, you know? And at the same time, again, you're going back to Inception and Interstellar, but they did always have the bones
No,
there.
they did make sense. They
And,
made
you know-
then there was a plot there to follow. It was Interstellar's plot is fairly streamlined. We're running out of food. We need to go to the planet. There's a wormhole.
Yeah.
And even Inception's plot is somewhat streamlined as well. There was no streamlined plot in it. Well,
I think what it was meant to be is that at the core of it, it's a spy thriller.
it's a spy thriller.
it's a
That
spy
is it,
movie,
yeah,
like.
it is a spy.
But I don't think that equates to having the whole, like, we need to go inside a dream or we need to go get food.
No,
You
and I
know.
mean, you're right. And it's,
I think it's expectations come into this as well, because it was hyped so much to be like the next Inception after the disappointing Dunkirk.
But at the Dunkirk was kind of the buzz of, like, we had all seen Dunkirk. We were all excited for Tenet, but we were all wary that it could be another Dunkirk. So I think the whole expectation thing, I just think
mine
honestly,
were sky
Jack,
high.
I think you're
mine
going.
were absolutely sky
Yeah,
high.
mine was so high.
And that's my own fault.
I think
Yeah.
I think you are gonna go see it again.
Oh, 100%.
I'm seeing
And,
it tomorrow.
I
Yeah.
genuinely don't think you are going to like it as much the second time. You will probably like it more the second time around, just because you'll get more. But I don't think that you'll actually like.
Well, the one thing
actual
I'm looking
story.
forward to in my second viewing is because I know what's happening, I don't have to watch each scene going, what's going to happen
Yeah.
next. I get to sit there, know what the film happened, know what it's about, and
Yeah.
then go, okay, now I'm really going to take in
Yeah.
what they're
Do you know
saying.
what was fucking weak though in this film?
Yeah.
The what's the main lead? None of them have fucking names.
No, they don't. So
The
yeah.
woman, the woman's motivation for hating
Kenneth Branagh's
wife.
wife.
Her motivation for hating Kenneth Branagh was just so weak.
It was weak.
It was so weak. I'm going to throw away my whole relationship with this man, including risking seeing my son, because I saw a glimpse of a woman jumping off the boat, which in the end turns out to be her.
And that is very as well. As soon as the inversion starts happening, you're like,
You're
right,
like, oh,
well,
I know. Oh, it's going to
I
be.
know where this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and as well, like, did you not think in the film it was so fucking patronizing the way that he was doing this massive, huge film, and throughout the entire thing, they're pretending that it's this massive, actual, comprehensible plot and concept. And through the whole thing, he's like, well, ignorance is our ammunition. And it's like, shut the fuck up, Nolan. Like, you can't be doing that. You can't pretend like this is an explainable thing and throw ignorance as our ammunition at it. Here's what you do. You go back to your Inception roots. You go back to your Interstellar roots. Get fucking physicists involved and stop approaching this unapproachable plot or concept and just throwing in the fact that ignorance is your ammunition. That's fucking retarded.
Yeah, I mean,
He bends his own rules, and which is the issue, because
Yeah.
like it's just badly explained.
it is.
From what I
badly
get,
explained.
it's like there's predetermined paths. There's a timeline. You visit like you start at A on the timeline, go to B, and then C is somewhere in the middle where the big fight happens,
big
and
fight
it's inverted at B.
At B,
and
yeah.
you go back a little bit, and then a little
But
bit more forward.
as you say, it's
again.
predetermined
Predetermined or whatever. So
Well, I got that. I just didn't. I realized when the fight was happening, I was like, this was definitely mentioned in passing, and you said that it happened with Michael Caine. But even your theory of, the theory you heard of that Max, Kenneth Branagh's son, is Neil, Robert Pattinson. I mean, even at that, then fucking call him Neil, you know? Call him fucking Neil then. The kid.
yeah, it's Maximilian.
Oh, like, piss off. Oh, I just thought it was one of those.
Maximilian. Max and Robert Pattinson as a child. No, yeah, that's just one of those fan theories. That's like the Schneider Cut doesn't exist.
I also felt that as well, as while some of the action stuff was ambitious, like I like, as much as we've given out about that final battle sequence, like but I loved like the inverted explosions and stuff, and watching the top floor of a building kind of explode and then also come in on itself, and
I loved the action.
I thought it was great. Like I liked the car chase and stuff, but I also felt it was kind of also not ambitious as I thought, because like, a big thing was that plane scene reminded me of Casino Royale when they're crashing the plane into the art gallery. Yeah. That really reminded me of Casino Royale, when Bond literally fucking blows up a plane, and that was just so much more exciting in Casino Royale. It was just done so much better, and I felt I was going to get those action sequences in Tenet, and I actually didn't really. Now, some of them are really good, and I enjoyed them, and I want to see them again, and I'm glad I saw them in cinema, 100%. But it was kind of like, Jesus, this is crazy, because I went in here thinking I was going to defend this down to the ground, and you guys have made me fucking give out about it way more than I was expecting. Like,
but it was I just think that, like, even looking about, like we were saying, your one jumping off the boat, the John David Washington fighting scene, every little element that you could see going forward, that, like, even, like, Robert Pattinson in the art gallery noticed, like, the door was, like, blowing under the even all those things, I was like, alright, well, they're coming back to that later. Every little bit along the way, and there was never, gonna come back, there was no part when they were moving backwards where I was like, whoa, oh, that's really cool. I actually said one to you that would have been really cool, and that never fucking happened. No, sorry, you said it to me that would have been cool, where it was basically going to fucking end up like the guy who gets beaten on the boat is actually Kenneth Branagh or something like that. It was something along the lines of that, and I actually thought that and I was waiting for that, but that just never happened. He was a random guy.
Yeah, that was a strange scene.
That was a weird addition.
That fella didn't fucking matter.
I thought that might have been a young Kenneth Branagh, and I was like, oh, they're explaining the grandfather thing, the grandfather where he'll kill him his young self.
Yeah. But then that will close the loop.
Because he brings the gold or something.
He does. He brings the gold. And I was like, well, Kenneth Branagh had the gold in earlier scene. But anyway, I just thought that this film, he found he always wanted to make a Bond film. Fair enough. I mean, he should have done a Bond film, but he found the theory of inverting entropy. I appreciate that, and he put the two together, and it didn't work in my opinion. I don't think he got it.
Made me hate this movie.
Well, okay. In saying that,
I just think people are waiting for someone to just be like, come on, like, it is a bit kind of like, a spade is a spade, like, there wasn't a second that you came out of Interstellar, or a second that you came out of fucking Inception, and you weren't like, banger.
Well, actually, I won't lie, I came out of Interstellar feeling so conflicted, and I was so scared to say it, because everyone fucking loved it, and I was like, holy shit.
I think I was kind of like that with Inception.
I was like, did I miss something there? I was like, everyone fucking loved that. Watched it again, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it did happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping happens with Tenet. I hope I get 2 or 3 watch them.
I hope it does for you
holy
as well.
Shit,
I hope it does for you as well. But for me, this fucking film, it was, as soon as I couldn't hear the fucking actors speak, it was gone for me.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so it's saying that we reviewed 2 films tonight, which was really refreshing, by the way, that we talked about 2 new movies.
Yeah.
That was so refreshing.
And we were waiting fucking like 6
months. 6 months,
for
like, Jesus Christ. So, let's
start
a
podcast.
Let's start with, I'm thinking of End of Things. Jack, give it a rating out of 10.
I'll give it a 7. 7 out of 10.
10?
I like kind of like the concept behind like the whole how interpretive it was. I don't think it was an easy watch though, so I'd say like 7.5.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5, 7, just purely because of how outlandish it was out there, and it's really not for everybody.
No.
And even particularly for Charlie Kaufman.
I wouldn't recommend it. Let's say it that way.
No, but I think you could recommend something like Eternal Sunshine or
100%.
or Anomalisa or or even Being John Malkovich, because you get the comedy out of that.
Yeah.
But this was a little bit out there. It's the only reason I'm docking it a few marks, but I'll give it 6.5 and 7. Now the big one, Tenet.
Also as incomprehensible.
Jack?
Oh, on my own personal IMDb, I gave this an 8, but now I'm thinking of giving it a 6. I don't know.
Has your opinion been swayed?
A little bit, but I want to go see it again. So at the moment, I'm on an 8.
Okay, you know what? If you get to see it again by the next podcast, and I get to see it again by the next podcast,
come back with
let's
reviews.
talk about our scores.
Yeah.
Scores.
Your
No,
scores.
well, you go with yours.
I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a right down the middle 5, purely because I cannot. I don't think I can give a proper opinion on it because I didn't understand it. And I don't think that's enough for me to give it a bad review because I didn't understand.
Yeah, my review is to be decided.
TBC. Yeah, okay, so Jack's got an 8 with a TBC.
Because I'm going to see it tomorrow. So.
Okay, if Jack comes back with a different score, I've got a 5 at the moment, which is also TBC.
See, I'm
TBD.
extremely conflicted with this as well because, say Dunkirk, didn't enjoy Dunkirk at all, didn't like it. I'd still rate it very highly just based on the way it makes you feel and the production quality behind it, and I really appreciate what Nolan does. I really like the whole idea of kind of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wasn't overly for me, but I appreciated that it was a tribute to Hollywood.
You knew what it was.
The whole
You've
time.
got to give it credit.
This is like a tribute to Bond in many sense, and I do think that he good on you, but no. I was gonna say 6, but I mean, if you're giving a 5, I'll give a 5 as well. You know.
Oh, I can't believe me and you were sharing scores here.
But it's like the whole. I should rate it lower because I have just grown to hate this film. But no, I wouldn't give anything Nolan does just because of the scale of it.
Yeah.
Less than a 5.
Yeah,
maybe that's the Michael Bay
thing. We should
thing.
split into 5 things like audio, cinematography.
Give them all.
And we do an average.
Yeah, maybe we should figure out an aggregate score.
Yeah.
An aggregate score.
And the judges.
So, you want to finish up? Do you want to close it out?
Thanks for listening, guys. I mean, we talked about 2 very incomprehensible films there.
We actually did.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting the other one to be as incomprehensible as...
The Boys is a bit of a lighter subject material. Hope you enjoyed all of it, and obviously these films won't be for everyone. But if you're going into them, don't bother trying to understand them. You know, you'll just get angry. Or if that's your thing, I mean, yeah, get angry over it. But anyway, next week, I think we're going to go see New Mutants, which we've heard has been slated. Yeah. So we will also be slating it, hopefully, this time next week. But maybe not. Maybe we'll enjoy it. But I think other than that, we'll probably be re-reviewing Tenet.
Let's go see Unhinged with Russell Crowe.
There's nothing fucking else to say.
We'll also be talking about the next few episodes of The Boys.
That's right, yeah.
So I think we'll do 2 and 3.
We'll do 2 and 3.
And we will, of course, be discussing the winners of the polls.
Of course.
Oh, sweet.
Which is a big one.
It's a big
one.
And
just disclaimer, we will get around to the MCU or just the Marvel Universe as a whole at one point.
When there's enough movies.
when there's more fucking movies coming out. But this is just going to be mainly on like the winner and the fucking the finalists in general. But thanks for listening again, guys.
Thanks again, guys.
We'll see you next week. Follow us on our socials. Rate us where you listen to podcasts. It's great.